It starts with the burial of two inmates. The grave diggers ask an older inmate about the two, and he begins to tell their story. The year is 1932. The place, New York City. We meet slick-talking Ray Gibson working his way into a nightclub. Then we meet Claude Banks, an ambitious brother dodging the topic of marriage. He escapes to the restroom. Ray targets him. Inside the restroom, Claude gets shook down for outstanding debts, leaving him no money to pay his bills. Ray enters the restroom and begins his hustle. He hugs Claude. Claude doesn't notice that Ray has just boosted his wallet, albeit an empty wallet. As Ray discovers that his score came up empty, he's escorted out the back door. The club owners got beef with him, and when Claude can't pay his dinner check, he gets dragged out back too. Ray and Claude contemplate their fates. The club owner Spanky arrives. He has his guys drag Claude away. They tie him upside down and begin dunking him into a shithole over and over, cold-blooded. This leaves Ray alone with Spanky to sort out their issues. Ray has Spanky sample some of his Mississippi hooch. He offers to make a run down south to purchase more and transport it back to New York. Spanky agrees to the deal. He offers Ray one of his men to accompany him on the trip, but Ray requests the assistance of Claude. The two men head down to the Sipp. They make a stop at an uninviting diner. The owner of the place tells the men that her pies are for a select non-melanated clientele. Claude continues to misread the situation while Ray tries the alternative method of persuasion and tests whether money talks and racism walks. The owner then clears up any confusion and speaks in a language that everyone can understand. The guys arrive at their destination and complete the transaction for the liquor. Ray hears a good time down the street and decides to entertain his vices. Plus, he's drunk on that New York attitude shit. The kind that can get you got. Ray takes his spot at the poker table. Ray is 50% playing his cards and 50% talking tall shit. The hand grows into a monster pot between Ray and Winston Hancock. When Ray can't afford to call the bet, Hancock goes to collect, but Ray stops him. Ray offers up his daddy's precious watch. He's got a boat, but Hancock, he's got quads. That little money be gone, and the watch. When the waitress comes to clear the table, Ray notices that she's hiding cards under her tray. Old New York City boy just got played. He runs outside to catch Hancock, but he's long gone. Ray shares his misfortune. He warns Claude that any mention of the watch will be met with violence. In the clear, Hancock admires Ray's watch, and then them folk roll up on him. It seems that Hancock is violating some sort of banishment. Hancock insults Sheriff Pike and receives a gut punch. Hancock then takes a chunk out of the sheriff's face with his razor. Ray and Claude make their way back to their car, still going back and forth over the night's losses. Suddenly, a man stumbles into Claude and falls to the ground. It's Hancock, and he's dead. Ray instinctively goes through Hancock's pockets to retrieve his daddy's watch, but it isn't there. Some locals roll outside, I guess to give the goat a rest, and they catch Ray and Claude standing over the dead body. Ray tries to talk his way out of the situation, but the locals bring him in. There, Sheriff Pike, who we all know was likely the one who killed Hancock, listens to the guy's plea that they were victims of being in the wrong place at the wrong time. The sheriff tells him that now it's in the hands of God and the judge, but mainly the judge. The judge decides to give them that long stroke, a life sentence. The guys arrive at a hard labor prison camp in Mississippi. They get the prison rundown from Dillard, a no-nonsense hard-ass guard. Dillard has an echo, a literal echo. Trusty prisoner, Hoppin' Bob. Our guys are shown their bunks and begin to serve their sentence. Adaptation comes quick. Claude and Ray realize that this ain't no summer camp. It's back-breaking punishment. Work conditions, work hours, worker safety, and worker feedback are of no concern. The only thing that matters is that the work gets done. Ray discovers that he's the only literate prisoner there when he's asked to read letters from home. Prisoner Pokerface has been sitting on a letter from home for 4 months. Ray begins to read the letter. The letter contains a sequence of one tragedy after the next. If bad luck was money, Pokerface would be a rich man. But true to his name, Pokerface shows no emotion. Pokerface is a true stoic hero. Claude done made a new friend, Jangleegg. Claude learns that being overly friendly might land you on your stomach. During lunch, Ray asks his fellow inmates what landed them inside. They tell various stories of strange and violent behavior. Given the high level of psychopathology, Ray's gonna have to embellish his crime just to fit in. He exaggerates himself as a madman who's constantly on the edge and ready to throw down on a moment's notice. His lies are interrupted by Goldmouth, who is about to take liberties on Claude's meal. Ray, still in the middle of promoting his threat level, decides to stand up for Claude. Goldmouth pulls Ray's G-card. Ray's mouth done got way ahead of his fist. Goldmouth gives Ray a Mississippi ass whooping. Ray gets beat up one side and down the other. He got a knot beat down on his head before one could even rise up. He took an ass whooping so bad that he stopped in the middle to write home to his mama. But in the end, I guess he earned almost as much respect taking an ass whooping as he would have if he was the one giving it. When the day for conjugal visits rolled around, Claude asked this old lady for an update on the appeal process. She asked him about Ray, but Claude is only looking out for self. While Claude awaits his legal channels, Ray is on a more direct method to get out, but Claude ain't trying to hear anything about an escape. But days later, when he receives bad news from his appeal lawyer, now he's all ears, excited to hear about Ray's escape plan. Ray calls out Claude on his selfish bullshit. Their bickering grows from a whisper into a shouting match. After Ray steps across a line, and then another, and another, the two men begin to fight. Hoppin' Bob jumps in to break it up. After they're separated, Hoppin' Bob doesn't notice that Ray has removed two of the rocks that he uses for head count. This gives the guys the opportunity to get a jump on their escape that night. They make it past the gun line and into the woods. Shortly after, Ray confesses that his plan is half-baked. Regardless, they continue the escape. Dillard and his trustees eventually track them down and apprehend them. They are returned to camp and brought before prison superintendent Mr. Abernathy. Abernathy asks his young daughter, May Rose, for advice on the severity of the guy's punishment. Unfortunately for them, little May Rose is tough on crime. We jump 12 years ahead and a new crop of prisoners are being initiated into the camp. One of the prisoners is acting like he don't know who, why, or what the hell is going on. His name is Can't Get Right. He's a good-natured, simple-minded mute. Claude is holding baseball practice. Can't Get Right wants to get in that bat. Well, nothing from nothing leaves nothing. It turns out that old boy is a natural. A Jeep rolls up and out comes a buxom young woman. It's May Rose. In those 12 years, she done grew all up and all out. The men all paused, and they all sang the same old tune. Can't Get Right is love struck, and May Rose takes notice of him too. The baseball season continues, and news about Can't Get Right has attracted a talent scout, Blocker. Blocker discusses the boy's future with Claude and lets it be known that if the kid is legit, there's a chance he could leave the prison camp. The game begins and May Rose is seated on the front row. She's got a bun in the oven now. Can't Get Right is still laser focused on old gal. Claude has to snap him out of it so that he looks good for Blocker. Can't Get Right goes up to the plate and he does that Barry Bonds thing. Blocker takes notes. Blocker thinks that the boy's raw ability could be molded into something special. He gives Ray and Claude some hope that there's a possibility that they could be Can't Get Right's handlers on the outside. Months later, May Rose done popped, and the doctor and her mother are about to drop. Don't worry, she's gonna be okay. But her dad, Abernathy, he ain't. Abernathy is floored to find out that the baby is darker than his own shadow. Old Pink Toes May Rose been leaving the back door unlocked. Abernathy demands a lineup of the prisoners. He goes down the line doing a bootleg A-B quasi-forensic comparison of the baby to each prisoner. Nope. Hell no. Well, apparently, Can't Get Right was slanging more than that baseball bat. When Abernathy turns up the interrogation of Can't Get Right, Ray volunteers that he hit up May Rose. So does Claude, and Cookie, and so on. Even old Jangle claims that he laid that leg on her. May Rose cuss things short and leaves with her child, a child that Can't Get Right will likely never see again. Can't Get Right has his number called. Blocker has gotten the kid a spot on the team. But Ray and Claude, he got nothing for them. Claude gets riled up because he had really gotten his hopes up that this was going to be his way out. He has to swallow his anger and send off Can't Get Right. Immediately afterwards, Ray starts up with another getaway plan. Claude ain't trying to hear none of that shit. He finally comes to grip with it. A life sentence means just that, life. He gives up on escaping and he gives up on Ray. He's done with him. For good. 28 years later, the guys are still locked up and still not speaking. The smell of some hot pie right out the oven triggers Claude. He's finally gonna get him some of that whites only pie. He devours it, but now he has to face the punishment. standing on bottle tops. Old Dillard is still patrolling the camp. He tries to enlist Ray as a trustee to put a hot one in Claude's back if he steps off the bottles. But you gotta be careful about offering the rabbit the gun. Now, Claude and Ray are sharing the same punishment. After 28 years, this is what finally breaks their silence, and the two catch up on 28 years in about 28 seconds. The guys have aged out of the labor camp. They get the news that they are being sent to the superintendent's mansion to serve out the rest of their sentence. Claude works directly for the superintendent, Wilkins. Ray has gotten the shorter end of the stick. He works landscape. Claude also serves as a confidant to the superintendent, who is planning retirement. Wilkins is empathetic to Claude's long prison term, but empathy ain't the same thing as freedom. Claude pulls around in the superintendent's car. He informs Ray that he's stepping in as chauffeur to take Wilkins to the bus station to pick up the future superintendent. They arrive at the bus station and the superintendent walks out. Claude recognizes him. It's that son of a bitch Sheriff Pike, the sheriff responsible for putting him and Ray in prison. The two superintendents go out quail hunting. Claude and Ray assist. When it's over, Pike pulls out a watch. Ray recognizes it as his daddy's watch. Ray questions Pike about the watch's origin. He drops some not-so-subtle hints that he knows how Pike actually acquired the timepiece. Pike challenges him. Ray snaps and puts Pike on his back, holding him at the end of a shotgun. Claude and Wilkins try to talk Ray down. Ray refuses to back down and continues his accusations. Wilkins hears him out and Pike begins to question Wilkins' allegiance. Arguments break out, and in the ruckus, Pike goes for the gun in his sock. Blah that. Wilkins smokes Pike. Ray goes into Pike's pocket and retrieves his daddy's watch. Back at Wilkins' house, he explains to the police how he mistakenly shot Pike. Wilkins is apologetic to Ray and Claude for serving all that time for a crime that they didn't commit. He's gonna draw up their pardon papers right after he goes and drops a deuce. End of story, right? Nope. That was Wilkins' last shit. Died on the toilet before he could pardon them. It's years and years later, and our boys are looking coffin ready. But now, it's Claude that has a plan to escape, and it's Ray that don't want to hear none of it. One night, their boarding house catches fire. Ray makes it out, but Claude is still inside. Ray makes a heroic attempt to save his old buddy, but the burning building collapses on him. The next morning, the fire inspectors find their remains and construct the details of what probably went down. Tragic shit, huh? Old man Willie tells the grave diggers how Claude's plan was supposed to play out, but some plans just don't go right. However, this one did. We drop into Yankee Stadium, and there's the fellas, enjoying a game together. Justice delayed, but life goes on.